¿Me confirman si están mirando la presentación, por favor?
Sí, sí se puede ver.
Un segundito. Qué pena, me disculpan.
Ok, voy a empezar presentándome. Mi nombre es Catherine Guerrero. Yo soy licenciada en inglés francés de la Universidad Nariño. Good afternoon to everyone. We are going to start with the presentation of this investigation project that it's called
Qué pena.
that it's called Content-Based Instruction, English Teaching and Learning for the Human Talent and Gastronomy Programs at Centro Internacional de Producción Limpia, LOPE SENA. I'm teacher in this center for around 7 or 8 years, and I'm the creator of these interactive booklets. The principal quality of these booklets are that they work offline. They don't need to get online for getting access to the activities.
Okay.
And my partner is Diego Portilla. Diego, continue, please.
Qué pena, ¿me confirman si me escuchan?
Yes.
¿Me confirman si está mirando la cámara? Qué pena.
Sí.
Una falla técnica ahí. Listo. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure for us to participate in this beautiful congress. Listening and learning from other significant experiences in language teaching. This for sure have enriched us in our teaching process. My name is Diego Portilla, leader of the bilingualism team of Centro de Formación Surcolombiano en Logística Internacional in the city of Ipiales. We belong to SENA, Servicio Nacional de Aprendizaje. We represent the institution that is the most loved by all Colombians. You can find a SENA all around the country. We have different training centers. In the country, we have 117 training centers which train apprentices for work in 31 knowledge networks, ranging from agriculture, industry, commerce, environment, and many, many different others. And one of those two knowledge networks are human talent and gastronomy, which are very important in our branch, which is Nariño. We hope that our presentation will also enrich your professional training activity. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the problem. The description of the problem must be understood from different points of view, especially about the objectives vocational training seeks. One of the objectives is to strengthen communicative competence. This is what we instructors look for in each of the sessions, and with all of the activities that we develop in the classroom. Classroom for us are called ambiente de aprendizaje or learning environment. Another goal is to improve the indicators in the state test, or we call it Saber Pro. It is intended that the apprentices at the end of their training program, they somehow obtain an excellent score in the national test. Another goal that the institution seeks is that we teach English for a specific purpose. The institution being an educational organization that trains Colombian workers to perform in specific areas, and of course, English for a specific purpose, such as working in, for example, in this specific program, which is gastronomy. We train apprentices to work at an international restaurant, maybe, serving foreign clients. We have many different visitors coming to the city, and tourists in general, and of course, raise the quality of the workplace they are working at. So the main aim is to teach learners English for specific purposes. However, we do not have the necessary training, but the training materials for this purpose. So we have an excellent network of libraries. We have databases, but specifically English that meet the needs of the training programs, we don't. So we have a large number of digital educational resources, but it is necessary for us to have a very specific training material for these programs. And of course, if they are of our intellectual property, which is SENA. So for this reason, through content-based instruction, which is the topic of our presentation, learners, in this case, SENA apprentices, learn much better when the content is designed according to their needs, and of course to the learning need that the institution is seeking. In addition to this, it is important to mention that the apprentices have prior learning, especially the learning of their work activity, and therefore it seeks to train learners in English within a specific purpose. Remember that we teach apprentices for the workplace, right? Remember that we mentioned the restaurant workers. So we have also tourist guides, apprentices who work with computers, fishing industry, environmental workers, among the other 31 knowledge networks that I mentioned before. Each one of these networks have different training programs in each one of the different training centers that we have at SENA. Remember that I mentioned that we have 117 training centers. And in all of those training centers, we teach different programs that are focused on improving the workplace. Okay, so which is very important to keep in mind and to consider. So what is the reason of this project? Colombia and the institution SENA, we have a national bilingualism program, which seeks to strengthen pedagogical practices like this one: educational innovation, innovative virtual learning environment. The training centers have a new bilingualism laboratory. All of the training centers, the 117 training centers that I mentioned, they have a bilingualism laboratory, which is very important. It's a very important investment. Multilingualism with a functional approach. That is why a content-based instruction is key for this specific purpose. The exposure of language is very limited, especially now with the sanitary emergency. You know, not many immersion programs are take place. Conversational clubs are very limited, and many other different strategies that we greatly promote are very reduced due to the pandemic. You know, all of the different strategies that we normally do in the classroom are greatly reduced or limited a lot. The level of English in the country has, of course, been reduced, and for this reason, these kind of projects seek to increase and improve the level of the communicative competence and reach the goal that is B2. At the moment that the project started, as we're going to see later, like 90% of the apprentices have only an A1 level. And in the country itself, the English level is not that very good at the moment. As we observe in most presentations, it is mentioned that many learners have some sort of anxiety when it comes to expressing themselves. This, of course, with virtual training, has been affected. So it's very difficult to make them talk, as some of the presentations they mentioned in the past couple of days. And of course, the vast majority of our apprentices come from rural areas with limited access to the internet. So these offline booklets, because the project is based on booklets that can be worked offline. So you can students are sent the booklet. They can work in the computer, they can work on the cell phones, and they don't need internet access to operate them or to download them or to work with them. So which is a huge opportunity to learn and apply training content at home without of course any restriction. As the main objectives of these projects, we have that the main objective is, or the general objective is, to define the effectiveness of the CDI in the learning of foreign language into specific programs, which are human talent and gastronomy at Centro de Formación de Producción Limpia, Centro LOPE. As specific objectives, we have the design of a set of materials, which are the booklets that we mentioned, on CBI as a base of instruments for the research experience of teaching of the foreign language within the training process that we carried out at the different training centers in this specific training center. And another objective is to compare the CBI approach versus the current English method, which is the simulation of English language of the learners in the two training programs. So we try to compare this CBI method against the traditional method, okay, which will provide a lot of information to improve the teaching and the learning process. And of course, to know the perception and opinions of the students in the English class as a result of the implementation of the strategy of CBI through the booklets. Let's talk a little bit about the CBI process, the CBI methodology. Content-based instruction, as Richard and Rogers state, refers to an approach that it's an approach to second language teaching, in which teaching is organized around the content of or information that the students will acquire, rather than around a linguistic or other type of syllables. It means that we focus on content, not focus on grammar or other methodological approach. So what we try to focus is to teach learners so they can perform very well in their workplace. Remember that we teach apprentices in different areas. So if we teach an apprentice of a program like gastronomy and human talent, we are not focusing on grammar. We are focusing on vocabulary that is accurate for that specific training program. Snow says that subject matter may consist of topics or themes based on the interest or the need of the apprentice in an English as a foreign language setting, like the one that we do at SENA, or to be very specific, such as the subjects that the students currently have in the school or high school, because they are learning the topics that are supposed to need in life, and at SENA, the topics they need to be performed in the workplace. There are there are a few principles that I want to point out in content-based instruction. For example, the base instructional decisions on content rather than language criteria. So we focus on content, not on grammar, not on vocabulary, but we integrate the skills. So we teach reading, listening, writing, speaking through content, through a specific content, which is gastronomy and human talent, like these two specific pronouns. Another principle is to involve apprentices actively in all of the phases of the learning process. An apprentice in a training program, they take English during the whole training program. So the idea is to provide a content that can be applied all the way that program they are studying. To choose content for its relevance to students' lives, interests, and academic goals. And in this specific case, for the workplace, because remember, SENA trains workers, trains apprentices to perform in the workplace, as I said before. Now, teacher Catherine is going to talk a little bit about the methodology used in this project. Catherine. Catherine.
Adelante.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. The methodology design that we used was a content-based instruction approach to teaching English. It was implemented with 2 offline interactive multimedia booklets, as Diego told before. We create 2 booklets that were direct to the 2 first programs that are gastronomy and human resources. We are trying to use a technical vocabulary with these smart books, but the idea of this project is continue growing and continue creating new material of study for all the programs that the SENA offers. This project was carried out through 4 phases. The first phase was observation and diagnosis phase, in which we applied a diagnostic test for know about the level of the students. We have 2 groups of 25 of 30 students, and we applied this diagnostic test and a little interview to know about the motivation that the students have with the English learning. The second one was the observation and diagnosis phase. Here we can observe to the students. We were working with these groups for a long time, around for 3 or 4 months before. So we can see in the students that they didn't have a great motivation to learning English. They always say, we always learn the same in the school, in the university, and everywhere. So the idea of this were surprised or to motivate to the learners to get technical English. After that, in the action phase, the creation of the material was carried out. It was a process, a little long process, because the material was researched very Okay, the material was created by the researchers, so they have to read a lot of books in technical languages. They have to learn to create recipes. They have to learn to know about catering, talking about the catering booklet, and also we have to learn about job interviews and something like that in human resources. After that, and the last phase that we are doing is the application and reflection about the material. We are right now applying the use of the booklets with the groups selected, and we can see that there is a big motivation in the students when they use these booklets in the class. The importance of these booklets are the students can't solve it alone. They always have to be with the teachers, making the solution of all the activities that we can there. Next one, please, Diego. The tools that we used were at the beginning a survey looking for information about the motivation that the students have. After that, we have a diagnosis test and class observation when we were applying the activities. And finally, we are going to use interviews, which give us some information about the thinking that the students have about the learning with technical English. Next one, please. Those are the groups that we choose to work with this project. That is técnico en cocina and tecnólogo en gestión del talento humano. May I share my screen, Diego, please?
Sure.
Now I'm going to show you a little bit of the booklets. Here we have catering and cooking booklet. This is me and this is my partner. And here we have human resources booklet. You can see here that we have 6 units, and in every unit we can see typical things from Nariño. For example, the guinea pig, for example, these elements that are specific from Nariño. Here we can see a little and we can hear that we have in audios in Spanish and in English for give to the learners a very correct explanation.
El objetivo principal de este módulo es familiarizarnos con vocabulario técnico de servicio de catering y cocina.
Also in English.
The main aim of this module is to give appropriate vocabulary to become familiar with the pertinent terms surrounding catering and cuisine. Besides, learners will have the opportunity to express habits, some ways to give pieces of advice, vocabulary about certain jobs and styles of service.
With these booklets, we can practice the 4 abilities in language. We can practice speaking, reading, writing, and listening. There are activities. For example, here we are going to talk about recipes and about kitchen activities. This is the text we are going to read here. The importance of these booklets, as I told you before, is that we don't need internet connection. This is absolutely interactive and people can use it through the cell phone, the computer, or the tablet. And they just need the internet connection to download the booklet. Here we can see also, for example, you have 3 opportunities, and here are 5. So you have 3 opportunities for get the correct answer. Here you can see the activities of dragging. All the material was created by the students of gastronomy. Can you see here? Here we have some videos with language tips.
Language tips. Expressing ability in the past.
Para expresar una habilidad en el pasado, podemos utilizar la siguiente forma.
Could or couldn't plus verb.
Could significa podía. Es un verbo modal. O couldn't, la forma negativa, no podía. Siempre después de could o couldn't vamos a utilizar un verbo. Por ejemplo,
I could make onboarding interviews.
yo podía hacer entrevistas de incorporación. O también podemos utilizar el verbo to be en su forma pasada.
Was were not able to plus verb.
Por ejemplo,
The human resource manager was able to make onboarding meetings.
el manager de recursos humanos era capaz de hacer reuniones de incorporación. Be able to significa ser capaz de. En este caso, como estamos utilizando la forma pasada del verbo to be, significa era capaz de.
Okay, this is a little show of the activity, the booklet, excuse me. And the results that we can get with these booklets are that all people is feeling fine with the application of these booklets. The motivation increased in the learners because they now can learn by doing. They can learn meanwhile they were working. For example, this was the first diagnostic test where all the learners or the majority of the learners have a basic level of English. Learners said that they like a lot the booklet. This 5% told that they are not interested because they don't like the self-learning, but it's a very little group of people. All people said that the English level increased with the use of these booklets. In the observation of the class, we can see the participation of all the students. They like a lot these booklets, and they said that are very useful to the learners of these groups that are gastronomy and human resources. Thank you. Diego, do you have anything to say?
No, hope you enjoy the project, and if you have any questions, so please ask. No? Okay, so hope you enjoyed the presentation, and hopefully we can show the results of this project next year when we have a lot of information, especially when we go through the project with other group of training programs. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and have a good day.
Thank you very much.